r/AskReddit, what happened to your school bad boy/girl? My biggest bully in middle/high school ended up going to prison. Funny thing though, my mom worked in that prison, and they got to know each other. When he got out, he found me and apologized. He later got a job at a local Taco Bell, and whenever I came in he would always add a bunch of free stuff to my order. I haven't seen him in almost 2 decades, but I know he became a dad. I actually hope he's doing well. Edit. Just looked him up. Had 3 kids, a wife, and is a contractor now. I'm glad he turned it around. Wow, that's actually a great ending. That went from 100 to 0 real quick. I'm glad he made amends and is now living the life. I love hearing stories like this one. It just makes me smile. Like it was straight out of a movie. He died in a car crash the night of graduation. My nod on methadone the night before graduation. Honestly, nobody was surprised. Sad, maybe, but not surprised. Bad girl, 3 kids, 2 of which happened in school, seems happy, never left the hometown. Bad boy, appears he now works constructions, and is on the fairly straight and narrow, nowhere near where we grew up. Did he ride his motorcycle recklessly up Dead Man's Curve? They say a degree opens the gates to a lot of opportunists. So he got icicade. Ours got stabbed to death in a fight he started with a much smaller guy. He's an eggplant farmer. Literally. Delightfully niche. This made me happy. So glad he continued doing what he loved. Shot and killed 2 fellow students behind a Publix across the road. So now he's in prison. Edit. For people wondering where, it was in Roswell, Georgia. Man, even behind a Publix. That's rare AF. Florida. Georgia. This sounds very familiar. Lots of meth. She posts photos of her newborn boy and calls him her sexy little man. When people call babies sexy, it makes me want to barf on them. It's so gross. Sad for the child. He wasn't the quintessential bad boy, but did drugs, drank, got arrested for drugs. Total partier, always nice to me, and we were friendly, but that whole scene just wasn't my thing. That was 1981. And up until 2013 wondered whatever happened to him. Found out my daughter's new boyfriend was his son. I was very relieved to find out that shortly after high school. He realized he was going nowhere fast, cleaned himself up, and started a successful business. Thrilled to say that my husband and I share 2 beautiful grandchildren with he and his wife, and I couldn't be more happy about it. That's the best thing I've read in this post. This is the best one. Alcoholic, missing most, all, his teeth, usually in between jobs in either lawn service or pest control, has custody of his kids, course he's the good parent. She's dead. Odd, right out of high school. Happy cake day to Yahoo. He got arrested for spray painting a wall, and happy ending, he went back to school and got into uni. Nice to see a happy ending. He moved to California and became an ad film director. His Instagram stream regularly contains pics of him posing with topless models, celebs and fancy cars and bikes. He also has a boat. So he's living up to his childhood image, I say. Man, I can't help but think he's probably exactly the sort of person people talk about when the Me Too movement was in full swing. Had her 2nd kid at 14. Good lord, that makes me sad. Okay, what the hell? I'm fairly certain one of the prominent and popular bad girls at my school ended up as a prostitute. A few years after graduation, she kept posting about how people should come get massages at this sketchy spa she worked at downtown. She also kept posting about her modeling career, but all the photos were behind a pretty steep paywall, so I'm pretty sure that was porn. Anyway, I read in the news one day that this spa she worked at was raided by the cops and the owner was arrested for running a prostitution ring. She suddenly stopped posting after that. Fairly certain. I'm thinking that a jury would find that beyond a reasonable doubt. D. It's funny, in some aspect just about every classmate of mine was a bad kid. Many went on to college or have kids, but many others have struggled. Out of 55, 12 have died. We graduated high school 6 years ago. Where the F do you guys live? I'm in Switzerland. I know noon in my school that has died because of drugs or crime. He had kids early, still lives in his parents' basement. The life. We had a couple, myself included. I think there was about 8 in total. I'm all that's left. The rest are dead or incarcerated. I hope you're doing well for yourself. Came from a bad group myself, and am now making things better for myself. Arrested for attempted rape. She was a bit of a goth. Smoked in front of the school. Smoked pot behind the gym. Graduated valedictorian, went to Stanford on a full ride scholarship. Goth valedictorian? Awesome. I don't think being goth and smoking cigarettes and pot make her a bad girl. That just seems like an awkward teenager trying to find their style while doing the same things that most teenagers experiment with. By the way, our school also had a goth girl, all black every day, except the neon green streak in her hair, smoked a lot of cigarettes, and graduated with a 4.0 plus GPA. Sex education S3 plot. Went to prison for selling drugs to minors about a year after he left our school. Some guy, IDK if he went to my district or not, and well over his 20s, started selling vapes to middle schoolers, only if they either sent in nudes or had sex with him. He was arrested in the winter, not sure what else happened. Not sure how this happened, but there were 3 bad boys on our football team, all players and all very good looking. They cussed, drank, smoked all the time, and were constantly getting laid, or at least telling everyone they were. Right around senior year/college they each went through some change, and are all now born again Christians. No partying, less cussing, and none of them talk about women in an objectifying way. It's great but kinda unnerving in a way. Right, like did they go on a bender and murder someone together? They definitely accidentally killed someone and made a pact to never speak of it, or they're all gay. I once had one of my middle school bullies turn out like this. He was literal trailer park trash who sold meth when he was in 7th grade and used to torment the hell out of me because I was fat, and he was also mentally unstable as all fuck. Found his Instagram and found out some things. He had a kid at 17, got married at 18, divorced at 20, and married again less than a few months after his first divorce. He is also a devout Christian, and I mean devout like his entire page is just scriptures and him thanking God for how blessed he is. Remember, this is the same kid who used to threaten me with burning down my house with his meth buddies, just for shits and giggles, to see how my skin would melt. I wanted so bad to DM him and demand an apology for the years of hell he put me through, but I figured I would wait for him to come to me. That still hasn't happened, so I'm assuming the page is to just keep up appearances and he hasn't changed at all. It's F weird man. The kid who said openly that he worships Satan more than once now is a devout Christian teen dad divorcee. Yo, that's pretty wholesome. My best friend's ex did exactly this. He was the most popular guy in school and all the girls wanted him. Then in college he had a come to Jesus moment and he's not even the same person anymore, but in a good way. He's very religious now, but it's so weird to see him like this, because he was the complete opposite in high school. They had a 3-way gay orgy. I was the bad girl. I was very academically gifted, but had a bad home life, so I smoked cigarettes and weed, drank a fair bit of vodka, basically did everything I could to rebel against authority. I once threw a jar of blood on the principal, animal blood, long story, ended up getting kicked out, spent 2 years on the streets with a bad drug habit, and surviving through sex work. Had a massive odds, turned my life around, worked in transport logistics. Now at 30 I'm at university, studying computer science engineering. I'll be 34 when I graduate. Glad to hear you turned your life around. All the best luck to you, C's. Fair play to you, you're going to achieve more than most of the so-called normal people at your school. 2 died of opioid overdoses and the 3rd died in a front-end collision while doing donuts in a roundabout. Dying from doing donuts, this is it, the Dodger bag fatality. A front-end collision into what? Roundabouts only go one way. And getting into a lethal accident with any vehicle entering it, or attempting to enter it, is kind of extremely difficult to do. Last I heard of him, he was totaling his dad's car, and was kind of a running joke around town. Apparently, just looking at Facebook, he's now a nerdy hipster who frequently donates to various charities in high school. He was a scene/metal kid who had a penchant for beating up his many girlfriends. I mean, he's better now, I guess. He's donating. Which one? One became a serial killer. My wife dated him before all that. One's doing life for a contract killing. 3 are dead, they were bangers. 2 are in mental wards. I was a hood banger back in the late 80s early 90s. Grew up in New Mexico. There were very few of us that became productive members of society. I got caught for B&E. Judge gave me a choice. Jail or Job Corps. I took the latter. Met my wife shortly after. And she taught me what it means to be a real man, father, human being. I love this one. Job Corps was an amazing opportunity. Met my fiancé there, and we are getting married next year. Glad you got your crap straight. Congrats. I grew up in NM2. Place had way too many ways to suck you under and keep you there. Witnessed a lot of friends go nowhere, lots of teen pregnancies, one guy raped multiple girls in HS, etc. I saw my brothers get fucked up with the general mischief. Women helped put them in the right path, too. I got out as fast as I could. Why is nobody asking about the serial killer? WTF? Context. Greetings fellow Land of Enchantment survivors. I too had a terrible and traumatic upbringing in New Mexico. I also knew a serial killer from the 90s there. He used to babysit me after school sometimes. It wasn't Bobby Fry, was it? I know y'all are not going to believe this one, but the bad boy super jacked dude Debro, blonde blue eyes jock, that got all the women, well, he's doing gay PRN at a professional level these days, so there's that point he's doing fine. Though point the bad girl that everyone was in love with, not me at the time though, she turned out to be a very sweet person with an abusive dad, and that made her be so rebellious and edgy back in high school. Point well, she's my ex-wife now, so there's that point. She's doing fine though. That escalated quickly. He's our county DA. What are his legal views? Is he the let's send all the drug addicts to prison type, or is he the let's do drug court and rehab type? I guess I was bad boy in high school. 2 of the girls I dated called me their bad boy phase. Years later I thought I was so bad too because I didn't give a crap about anything and broke every rule I thought was stupid. Then I got sent to a school filled with kids way worse than me. My graduating class was around 20. I think. I maintained the same attitude about everything but somehow graduated. I was considered a good kid in that school because I did half my schoolwork and I wasn't shooting up or partying every weekend. Anyway, now I'm closing in on 30. I have a good job, $65k a year, quite a bit in the shithole city I live in, and just bought my dream car. I'm currently sitting on my couch, typing this in an awkward position because my cat decided to go to sleep right where my arm would go. Sorry if that was poorly written. I just did shots with my grandmother over Skype for her birthday. Edit. Lots of questions. The car is 2019 Honda Civic Type R. I'm an operations manager at a plant. My grandma is amazing, and I have many more stories, but I fear I may have doxed myself and will be deleting my account when I get home. Thank you. I just did shots with my grandmother over Skype for her birthday. Bad boys for life. Sorry if that was poorly written. I just did shots with my grandmother over Skype for her birthday. I love that. Died of an overdose. That happened to a lot of kids in my school. I'm 10 years out now, and I still sometimes hear about blah blah dying from this, or blah blah dying from that. Not quite the bad boy. Actually everyone thought he was goody two shoes. Turns out he had some of the worst grades in school, was a serial arsonist, and when he was caught attempted suicide. Haven't heard from him since, but he made the news with one of his fires. I had a few of them. Some of them are really crazy, but one of them seems to have calmed down a bit, and I hope he's doing well in life, because he kind of deserves some good luck. He's dead. Was always a hothead. Not after spending 3 years in prison, broken jaw, shot multiple times, etc. He was just bad news. One of them became an accountant. I met him on a train to the city a few years after school. Well dressed, quiet, and serious. He became the mayor now. No one expected this would happen. Not my school, but one close by. I married her. She's an amazing mother to our kids. We need a him of this. Bad boy is now manning the front desk of the local dry cleaner. Bad girl got married, got divorced, and is desperately trying to get married again. But everyone is taking a bite, but nobody is buying. My school's bad boy / girl never got traction. But the asshole popular guy is now overweight and balding, and recently hit on my at the gym. I was an awkward band kid, and grew into a very pretty lady. Fuck you, Chad, for real. His name is Chad. I'll never understand how parents will look at their newborn child in the eyes and say my beautiful Chad. Much less tell their family this is my adorable Chad. He's a DJ in a nightclub and is a good friend of mine. I used to do his homework and he'd buy me lunch. I managed to get him in my study group, so he didn't bully us, but he'd spend most of his time drunk, or with girls, or getting into fights. He is a good friend of mine as well as the other nerds of the group now. We were in a reunion celebrating 10 years of our graduation like 2 years ago, and he invited us to the nightclub where he works, and I hated the music but everyone seemed to like it. He got divorced last year though, not nice. But he's got his crap together, so we all cheer him up. There was once this kid in our school who seemed really cool and a real badass. He was the kid who would smoke a joint during school and he would carry pocket knives. He was a nice kid. Anyway, he got caught shoplifting birth control pills because he made a chick pregnant. Anyway, fast forward 15 years, he's homeless and a heroin addict. I only know because I saw him outside of Starbucks about a week ago. Well, the school slut is now a nurse in Austin, Texas. She did well for herself. As for the bad boy, he is still in law school at the University of Virginia. I just realized that I'm nowhere near as successful as them, and I feel sad now. It depends on your definition of success. Are you happy? He's a mechanic. Have a chat with him, and then. At first I pictured the two of you mowing lawns together. It was a pleasant image. They beat a guy to death over some dart game money and are in prison now. He gave me chlamydia. Are you a koala? Went to private school, so our version of a bad girl was also the class president. But anyhow, onto the story. A few years ago I received a message from a friend with a newspaper article. This girl got arrested for running an underground sex ring. She would find and lure in young teenager girls, drug them, and then her and her boyfriend would rape the girls. They held parties where all this went down. Apparently they were part of a whole group of people. Then the two fled the country after they plead guilty. They were eventually found on a farm where they were working as farm hands. Now I can't find any stories to say what happened, but if I remember correctly my friend told me she was deported. Our local bad girl is actually my neighbor. During her last 2 years of high school both her parents passed away from vastly different illnesses. She shut herself away for a while after. Now she can't keep a job to support herself because she's still permanently trapped in that bad girl attitude from how much they spoiled her, that she has to rely on her brother 2 states over to pay for her food and apartment. The group he was in got into a car crash, killing one of them. He was the one driving, but the oldest one took the blame. The poor girl almost was paralyzed at the waist down and still took the blame for him because he just got his license. They all have almost fully healed since then. It's been a year or so. Who the F knows? I deliberately haven't spoken to anyone that I went to school with since. Turns out there's a rumor amongst my former classmates that I'm missing and presumed dead. I'm okay with that. It's been 1 year and I'm so glad I do not have to seen any of them. He's addicted to fentanyl now. He's facing charges for beating his mom up for not giving him money, so he'll be going away for a while. We had a couple of them where I lived. One found a girlfriend that rescued him from his bad habits. I knew her in passing, and he's really lucky to be dating her. The second dropped out of a shitty college, went through rehab, got his life together, and is, last I heard, back in school learning. The third was the cliche bad ending. Abandoned the other 2, got arrested a couple of times for drugs and petty theft, and I haven't heard of him since. My best friend was the school bad girl. Dated guys in their 20s when she was in high school, did drugs, did not deal well with authority, etc. Point she's had her ups and downs, like getting arrested during her 3rd wedding, but now she's in law school in Hawaii. He is still trying to live as a musician, but in reality, being sustained by his father/mother and living with them. Point she got pregnant with 17, did not finish school, had the baby, went back to school, and finished it. Her family sustains her and the baby since the father disappeared. She struggles with raising the kid, trying to go to parties and work, earning less than the cost for education/food for the kid alone. They are both over 30 now. Point all this from social media. His brother died of a heroin overdose, and he started to be less of a douche. I would not consider myself a bad boy myself, but I was hanging around with that group of friends anyway. One of them is once again sent into a rehab home due to drug addiction for like the 5th time. Another working his ass off on the weeks, partying and doing coke on the weekends. Last time I spoke with one of the girls, seems like she pretty much just isolate herself at home with the rent paid by her mom. Everyone else that was a part of this group has moved away from here, and I have no idea how they are doing nowadays, but I hope, and I guess they are doing fine as they've apparently felt done here. I do know one of them has a child. Arrested at 13 for downloading child PRN on as many school computers as he could. Now that just sounds like the dude did it on a dare. Committed triple murder of his grandparents and a nun. IWH, what? So this boy in my class would vape and smoke weed during lunch, and later I found out from his buddy he got put on house arrest. Doesn't end there though. He ran away and came to school. This idiot came to beat up this boy cause he didn't pay for his weed. 5 cops in a different uniform, not SWAT, came and tracked. They had medium guns on them. The boy down. He was found with a small pistol on him. Medium guns. We didn't really have that many bad boys, and honestly they all turned out okay. This one group of girls though, holy fuck. They all think they're the Kardashians and act like they're famous on Instagram, beautifully documenting their cocaine-induced adventures. The latest thing that's happened with them is the one who I always thought was the most sensible of the group had a baby with some sketchy anti-establishment skater dude, and now they're all pushing out babies like the human race is going extinct to try and one-up each other. Some of them are on their 3rd or 4th kid. It's like they're having a who can give birth the most times before their legs fall off contest. At least being constantly pregnant has kept them away from the drugs for the most part. Lol. I didn't find out until well into high school it was me. I started going to private school freshman year and got ghosted by my friends. Had no idea why, but at a party in our town, I rarely went to parties, I saw one and asked what the deal was. Apparently, his mom called all of our friends' moms and told them I was a bad influence and I needed to be excluded from hanging out with them. So one mom cost me 95% of my childhood friends, so I'm well. Married, no kids, no plan on having kids, own a home, work in advertising, didn't finish college, but didn't need to. I stay fit. My wife is beautiful. We are healthy and happy. Point as for the friends. 2 dead from odds. 1 cashier at a liquor store who lives with his parents. 1 moved to Germany to be a European homeless person. 1 convicted of sexual assault. 1 pizza delivery driver/addict. 1 just disappeared at around 17. I guess his father worked in the state government, and when he was busted with drugs they just sent him away. No social media or contact with anyone. At one point I asked his sister and she just said she didn't want to talk about it. He could literally be dead, and we'd never know. 1 was an internet pioneer, in that, before he was 20 he was facing federal trafficking charges for selling drugs online. Point, and that about covers it. So it's clear to everyone I was the problem. There were 2 of them. They were both girls. They were the cool stoners who vaped and drank Allet. Anyways, they hung out Allet, and one day they got into a nasty fight and 1 got punched in the face and got her glasses broken, and the other one was thrown up against the locker and couldn't walk for a week. In the end, one of them got expelled. Glasses girl. BC she started the fight and the other one got to stay. I now go to the same school as Glasses girl and she started being nicer to everyone, and now we're chill. Girl was way out of my league. Asked her out, have me a laughing no. Last I heard she got 5 kids from all from different baby daddies. Sounds like you didn't dodge a bullet, but a FKing grenade. Thank you for watching this video. Like and subscribe for more. See you next time.